A survey done in 2005 by Fox, a research-based policy analysis website with commentary from leading economists, shows that 3% of Dutch people had very firm immigration plans, and 24% actually did immigrate in the following year. Dutch people have a tendency to move in between countries in the Schengen area. Countries most immigrated to by Dutch people is Belgium with 21%, Germany 17%, and France 6%. The main reason for Dutch immigration is work. Also, immigration for work purposes is mostly done by self-employed men under 30. In addition to this, the biggest push factors of the Netherlands are persecution, fear of natural disasters, poverty, and unemployment. The Netherlands is very crowded and largely overpopulated in comparison to other Western European countries. This is also one of the reasons why people tend to leave. In this graph, a global enterprise has estimated the immigration of Dutch people in a couple of countries. You can see more countries that Dutch people emigrate to. You can clearly see an increase in migration to countries outside of Western Europe, such as Canada, United States, South Africa, Australia, Turkey, and New Zealand. In this graph, you can see that there is an incredibly large increase in immigrants right after the Second World War. All of these countries are well developed but still outside of the Schengen area. Dutch people integrate fairly well in most Schengen area countries and outside, because in most schools the language department is quite well developed. Languages such as English, French, German, Spanish, and Chinese are taught, so the language barrier that exists is sometimes smaller or even non-existent. Also, the Netherlands is the 2017 #1 leader in English for a country whose native language isn't English. The Netherlands beat 72 other European countries. This is thanks to the fact that Dutch and English are Germanic languages. A lot of the words are, sound, or look alike. In addition to this, the Dutch are claimed to be a very welcoming nation. Now we have interviews with actual Dutch people that had to integrate into other countries. State your name and age.
I'm Juliette Grit and I am 15 years old.
Country of migration?
I moved to Ireland.
Reason for migration?
My dad's work.
How long have you lived in the Netherlands before emigrating?
9 years.
What had been the biggest difference in culture? Food, language, transportation?
School. School's very different.
Why?
Well, the whole system, it was completely different, and we had to wear uniforms. And the culture there was really different as well because in the Netherlands, if you go somewhere with friends, you don't really dress up. But there, if you go somewhere, even to a restaurant, they dress up in these really fancy dresses, do their hair and that kind of stuff. So that was really really different.
How have you integrated your Dutch ethnicity into the culture?
What do you mean?
As in, have you kept biking or you kept making stroopwafels or?
Well, biking was very hard there because it was very dangerous and there were no special roads for that. And we did buy Dutch things there because in some shops you could buy Dutch things like pepernoten. We bought that at the train station, and they had Dutch waffles as well. So we kind of kept that that part of. And also every time we went to the Netherlands, we would buy huge amounts of hagelslag because we just loved that, but you can't really get that there.
If you had the opportunity to repeat the process, what would you improve?
Nothing. I really liked it. I think that it was just a very nice experience for me, and I wouldn't really change anything because I liked the way it was. If I could change one thing, I would have wanted to be able to speak English better when I moved there because I could not speak English.
Okay, state your name and age.
I'm Puk Lancer and I'm 14 years old.
Country of migration?
Hong Kong.
Reason for migration?
My dad's work.
How long have you lived in the Netherlands before emigrating?
I lived in the Netherlands for 8 years.
What had been the biggest difference in culture? Food, language, transportation?
Everything.
Examples?
They drive on a different side of the road and they speak Chinese and English there, not Dutch. And also there are a lot of mountains and it's very warm.
How have you integrated your Dutch ethnicity into the culture?
Not really, I guess. I taught some of my friends Dutch, but they couldn't speak it. at all.
If you had the opportunity to repeat the process, what would you improve?
Probably that I could speak English pretty well from the start, and that I'd probably be a little bit older so I could do more things.
The Dutch have a tendency to leave whenever a big negative event takes place. Take a look at the Second World War or the flooding of 1953. In addition to this, Dutch emigration has existed for an incredible amount of time. Emigration peaked from 1940 to 1955. Most Dutch people are very socially skilled but have trouble getting to know other cultures because the Netherlands are so overcrowded that Dutch is the #1 ethnicity they know thoroughly. Even though the issue of language has been mostly resolved, there is still the phase in integration where you as an immigrant have to start adapting your new culture, which can be very hard, especially if you are Dutch and have such a strong, specific and unique culture. No more biking, harrying or authentic meals. Some of the very foundation of the Netherlands. Thank you very much for your attention.